Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm just going to do a spiritual vlog type video. I'm going to update you on my process and by sharing what I'm currently going through on my spiritual awakening journey. Perhaps it will shed some light on some things that you can relate to in your own journey. So for the last couple of months, I've been feeling this really deep-rooted fear in my solar plexus and heart and deep in my skull. I've been feeling this deep-rooted fear start to really unearth and start to unravel. And as this fear has started to come up, I've become more aware of what it is, where it's coming from, and the symptoms that it's been causing have been something that I've been becoming more at ease with, and I've been learning to love. Now, the fear that I'm referring to, for me, what's been coming up on a deep, deep level is the fear of rejection and the fear of disapproval. I've lived a lifetime of inauthenticity and fear, and these have all come from that fear of not being loved or liked. So from a very young age, I can remember, I'll just use this as an example. One time in junior high, we had a student-teacher basketball game, and I was in 8th grade, and I convinced my whole team to be announced as a team instead of announced as individuals one by one. And the reason I did this is because I couldn't risk being announced and no one cheering. So at least if we were, and even worse, what if I was booed, Those are the kind of things that were in my consciousness at a very young age. I remember in high school, dreading walking into the high school cafeteria because thinking this is the day that there's not going to be a seat for me at the table with all my friends. This is the day they're going to abandon me and I'm going to have to sit alone. I even remember in college, whenever a professor would even so much as glance at me, I would feel this terrified feeling, like if he was looking around the room for a volunteer or for someone to speak up, I would just feel this internal angst and basic almost nausea and this shaking. I had so much fear of what others might think if the real me was revealed in any way. If the real me that I was trying to hide so desperately was to be revealed, it would be just too much for me, and I couldn't tolerate the thought of this false structure that I had created that I thought would get me everyone's approval and acceptance. I feared so much that this false structure would collapse because I was so exhaustively constructing it and patching it together, and it was a very difficult thing for me to work through. I can even recall just a lot of times in my late 20s leading up to this awakening, how I would be paralyzed with fear. I would have to leave home or leave work to go home many days because I was just having panic attacks, and a lot of days just not even being able to leave my apartment and just relying on drugs and alcohol to numb and suppress all of these fearful energies that were just begging to come up and be released. But I didn't have any of the tools or the understanding of allowing energy to arise and to surrender to it and to just let myself feel it and love it. I had none of that, so I just kept shoving it further and further down. And then when the Kundalini awakening hit, all of that energy, the Kundalini just bringing it all to the surface, and I'm just felt like I had so much fear that I was going to go crazy at times, and just being so overwhelmed and so enslaved to my fear, having the fear being so much my master that even thinking suicide was a viable option at times. I mean, all from this fear of rejection and disapproval and not being loved. And so creating this false construct of who I thought others wanted me to be and protecting this false construct at all costs. And not wanting to risk it even taking the slightest damage, the slightest puncture, because I derived my whole sense of self from this false structure. I believed myself to be this structure. And that was the real difficulty, is just being so encased by this false shell and believing in it so fully. And it was and that's what I feel like in my life has been the most transformative thing of this awakening, is I've been forced to let go of this structure. And that's why I'm so passionate about these YouTube channels and my blog, because I want to help other people who are upholding the same false structure in the pursuit of having others like them, and who are creating this false structure because they're afraid of people not loving them for who they really are. I love sharing my story so that if you're going through something similar, you know that it's okay, it's safe to show who you really are. That the reason we put out this false persona, this false person, this mask in the first place is because we just want people to like and respect us. But the truth is that if we're just honest with people and we speak our truth, then they have no choice but to respect us. And that's all anyone ever wants, is they just want you to speak your truth, because then you give them permission to speak their truth. And not everyone is going to love or like you for your truth, but just how good you're going to feel, and just how supported you're going to feel by life to speak when you're speaking your truth. I texted this to my friend last night. I told her, if you don't have a connection to your truth, to God, to the intelligence of life, but everybody on planet Earth loves you, you're still going to feel this emptiness, this sense of something missing. But if you have this connection to your source, to your soul, to your truth, to God, then everybody on planet Earth could hate you, and you would still feel so supported and loved beyond measure. And that's what the whole premise of this channel and my blog is just to share my story, to share my path to connecting to that truth within me. And every YouTube video I make, every blog post I create, more of that fear of being authentic, more of that fear of sharing, of what's going to happen if I share who I actually am, more of that fear starts coming up. And the fear can take on physical symptoms, like I've been going through so much like tension, headaches, and head pressure, sometimes shaking. I've been going through dark, obsessive thoughts a lot. That's why a lot of my videos I've been sharing that. This shadow runs so deep for me, and there's so much energy behind it. It's just coming up in layers and layers. And every video I make, every blog post I share where I'm being completely authentic and sharing the truth of who I am, it just keeps revealing more of this fear. And what I've noticed that's the most helpful is really opening up in this area here. Opening your heart, opening your solar plexus. Because when we open our heart to something greater than ourselves, to the one, to the universe, to God, we can truly start to love ourselves. And when we love ourselves, when God and the universe showers its love on us and shows us how to love ourselves, then we can love what arises. And if anxiety and fear and anger and self-hatred and grief, if all these things are arising in us, we can truly love those aspects of ourselves, and we can thank them. Because when we love these aspects of ourselves, then they no longer have anything else to teach us, and they can release from our being. But until we can love all of these darker aspects, these more negative aspects, these hard bugs are loving me right now, I guess. Until we can love these aspects of ourselves that sometimes we'd rather not feel, then they're just going to stay in our consciousness because we still haven't learned what we need to learn from them yet. So they are serving us. And so I found that to be tremendously helpful. And the solar plexus, I made a video on it, but it's been so imperative in my process to have an open solar plexus, because this is truly the seat of our power. And if we can have an open solar plexus, we're going to have the courage to sit with what is arising. We're going to have the strength. We're going to find the strength and summon it from deep within. We're going to summon the strength to be able to not resist and not try to escape what's arising. And when we open our solar plexus area, what we notice is that we start speaking from there. And what comes from our solar plexus, the words that come from our solar plexus, are directly linked to our truth. So when we speak from our solar plexus, that's our truth. You know, the mind might not love what's coming up all the time because it might be afraid of, oh no, don't share your truth. Not with this person. How are they going to take it? You're not going to be well received. They're not going to accept your truth. Don't do it. And sometimes, and that's if you have a closed throat chakra, that's what happens. The truth is coming up, but the mind says no and contracts and restricts it and shuts it down, and it pushes it back down. And that's what leads to a blocked off solar plexus and a blocked throat chakra. But when we just let it come up and out, the response might be scary. We might be feeling big emotions. Our voice might be shaking. Our palms might be sweating. But when we just let the truth come out, oh, it feels so good. And the response won't matter because you will feel good. You will feel that integrity and that respect for yourself. And you will find it so much easier to love yourself when you speak your truth. And when you love yourself, you're going to be able to heal your shadow. And truthfully, when you're speaking your truth and you just feel really good about yourself and you respect yourself and you have this integrity, you'll learn that others perceive you how you perceive you. So if you perceive yourself as someone to respect, as someone that is worthy of love, that's someone that has the courage to speak their truth, then others are going to respect you and love you and see you for those same things that you see yourself as. And that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Just a little spiritual vlog update of my process, what I'm going through. I hope it is relatable to you. I hope that you guys can derive some value from it. But it's been really nice connecting with you guys as always. Thank you for watching. Namaste.